Don't play the violin. I always knew there was something strange about my grandmother's house. It wasn't the old furniture or the smell of mothballs. It was that damned attic. Going up there had been forbidden for as long as I could remember. When I was a kid, every time I asked about it, my grandmother would avert her eyes and say in a dry voice, "Don't play the violin." I thought it was just a weird way of changing the subject. But now I understand. She died 3 weeks ago. I inherited the house because there was no one else. My mother had died young, and my father was never around. So I found myself alone, standing in front of a house that smelled of dust, confinement, and rusted memories. I cleaned it half-heartedly during the first few days. It was large, old, and full of photographs that seemed to watch me as I passed. But it wasn't until the 4th day that I remembered the attic. The staircase was hidden behind a door in the second-floor hallway. When I opened it, a sour smell hit me in the face, like rotting would mix with something metallic. I climbed. Each step creaked as if the house itself were protesting. When I reached the top, the light was dim, filtered through a tiny skylight covered in dust. And there, covered by a yellowed sheet, was the violin. It was beautiful, definitely old, but with a dark varnish that seemed to drink up the little light in the room. I picked it up. It was heavier than I expected, and though I hadn't touched one since high school, my fingers settled on the strings with familiarity. Then I heard a sound. It didn't come from outside. It came from the violin itself. A murmur, almost a sigh. I froze. "Don't play the violin," echoed in my mind. I left it where it was and hurried back down, slamming the door behind me. That night I dreamed of it. I heard it playing alone, a sad melody that seemed to weep. I woke up drenched in sweat, with the feeling that something was watching me. The following nights were the same. The music returned, always different, but always heartbreaking. On the 7th day, I couldn't take it anymore. I went up to the attic again. This time the violin was no longer covered. Someone or something had removed the sheet. I picked it up as if possessed. I couldn't help it. I placed it under my chin, raised a bow, and played. The first note wasn't mine. It belonged to someone else. It was as if the violin had memory, and I was just a channel. I can't explain what I felt. Pain, loss, anguish, all at once. And with each note, the shadows in the room moved. Not with the light, but with life of their own. I kept playing, unable to stop. When I finished, the room was freezing. I went back downstairs, trembling, the violin still in my hands. That night, the dreams changed. I wasn't just hearing anymore, I was the one playing. Every night, my body rose on its own, walked to the attic, and played. I woke up exhausted, my fingertips raw and bleeding. I tried to get rid of the violin. I threw it into the river behind the house. I watched it sink. I felt free. But the next day, it was back in the attic, dry, gleaming, waiting for me. I tried to burn it. It wouldn't catch fire. The flames surrounded it, licked it, but left no mark. And then I began to hear voices. First in my dreams, then while awake, voices of lament. They begged me, "Play us." They said, "Free us." I searched through my grandmother's old journals. I found a notebook hidden beneath a loose floorboard. It said the violin had belonged to her brother, Emiliano, a child prodigy who played like an angel. Until one day at 13, he vanished. No one ever saw him again. In the notebook, she wrote that she could still hear him at night, and that once she saw him in the attic, playing, but his face was empty, as if the music had stolen it. There were more names I didn't recognize. Dates, all children, all musicians, all missing. The violin wasn't an instrument, it was a prison. Each note, each melody was a trapped voice, and every time someone played it, they joined that cursed symphony. Now, I understand why my grandmother never destroyed it. She couldn't, and neither could I. But one night, I realized something. If the violin could take souls, maybe it could give them back. That night, I played the longest melody of all. I didn't know it. It didn't exist in this world. It was dictated by the violin itself, by the souls weeping from its wooden body. My fingers bled, my vision blurred. But I didn't stop. And then it happened, One by one, the names from a notebook were whispered into my ear and faded away. I saw their faces. I saw little Emiliano. He smiled at me before disappearing. And then, silence. I collapsed. When I woke up, the violin was reduced to ashes. Now the house is calm. But whenever I hear string music, something inside me trembles. Because sometimes in the background, I swear I hear a single note, one note that doesn't belong to this world. And I wonder, did I really destroy it?